The sky over Veltrax 7 was dark, filled with fire. Giant enemy ships blocked the sun. The peaceful insect-like aliens, known as the Zalari, ran for shelter, their wings buzzing in fear. Their cities were burning, their gardens, homes, and communication. Towers were being destroyed by the Draxor Raiders, a violent group of pirates known across the galaxy. The Zalari were not fighters. They were farmers, thinkers, and healers. For hundreds of years they lived quietly on their green planet. They trusted the Galactic Council to protect them, but now no one was coming to help. "We must send the emergency signal," said Elder Verney, leader of the Veltrax colony. His long antennae trembled. "Before it's too late." "But the beacon is ancient," said his assistant. "It hasn't been used in over 500 cycles." "We have no choice," Verney said. "We will hope someone answers." They activated the old beacon. A bright signal shot out into space, an old message designed long ago by their ancestors. The message was simple. "This world is under attack. Help us." The signal was supposed to go to the Galactic Council. But deep in the galaxy, far from the usual trade lanes, the signal did not go where it was meant to. Instead, it was picked up by a system few aliens dared to contact. It was received by Earth. Back on Earth, United Terran Defense Command. The signal was found by a satellite near Jupiter. The message was strange, and the language was unknown. But Earth had powerful AI translators, and within minutes, the words were clear. "This world is under attack. Help us!" Admiral Ray Morales stood at the center of the control room. She was a calm woman with sharp eyes. Around her, officers read data, scanned maps, and watched the signal. "Are we sure it's real?" she asked. "Yes, Admiral," replied her chief officer. "A colony named Veltrax 7. Unknown to us, but the coordinates are clear. They're being attacked." "Who sent it?" "Unknown alien race. But it looks like they weren't calling us." Ray Morales raised an eyebrow. "But we got it." "Yes, ma'am." The signal bounced through an old network. Strange routing, but it reached us. She looked at the screen, showing a live feed from deep space sensors. It was a small planet, under siege by a large pirate fleet. Ray gave the order without delay. "Send the 12th Fleet. Tell them to prepare for combat." Aboard the human flagship, Solar Wrath. The human fleet moved quickly. Warships rose from orbital docks around Earth, Mars, and Luna. The Solar Wrath, a massive battleship with thick armor and deep space cannons, led the charge. Smaller ships followed, cruisers, destroyers, medical support vessels, and drone carriers. Humans were still new to the galactic stage. The other species saw Earth as a death world, a place full of danger, harsh weather, and wild animals. Most believed humans were too aggressive, too unpredictable. So Earth had stayed quiet, watching, learning, preparing. Now, a signal had come, and humans had answered. The journey took just a few days, using folded space tunnels and dark matter drives. The fleet entered the Veltrax system in full formation. Captain Jonas Lorne, commander of the Solar Wrath, watched as the pirate ships came into view. He frowned. "Big raiding fleet," he said. "Looks like they weren't expecting company." Veltrax 7. The moment of confusion on the planet, the Zalari thought they were finished. The Draxor had begun dropping troops, fires spread. Screams echoed across the colony fields. Suddenly, the sky shifted. New ships arrived. Dozens of them. Huge, metallic, and silent. They appeared without warning, surrounding the pirate fleet like shadows. What are those?" a Zalari scout asked, eyes wide. "I don't know," said Verney. "They are not council ships. One of the human ships sent a message down to the surface, translated into the Zalari language. To the people of Veltrax 7, we received your call for help. We are here. Stay safe." The Zalari were confused. The signal wasn't meant for humans, but they were here, and they came to fight. The Draxor. Laugh. Then regret. The pirate leader, Captain Gralloch, laughed when he saw the human fleet. Another foolish group, he said. They came to die. He ordered his ships to fire, but within seconds, the Draxor learned their mistake. Human railguns ripped through shields. Drones moved with silent speed, cutting engines and tearing hulls. The pirate fleet returned fire, but human armor was too strong and their weapons too smart. The Draxor never faced such tactics before. Humans didn't fight like the Council. They fought with precision, with teamwork, and with terrifying focus. Boarding. Teams from Earth entered the enemy ships using stealth pods. Pirates were captured, others ran. Some self-destructed to avoid being taken. In less than 20 minutes, the Draxor fleet was broken. Silence. After the storm from the surface, the Zalari watched in awe. The sky cleared, the fires stopped. Human ships floated above them, calm and unmoving. The Draxor were gone. A landing ship came down. It was painted with the Earth symbol, a circle with a tree, a wave, and a flame, showing balance, strength, and life. Admiral Ray Morales stepped out in full uniform, along with a small team of medics and engineers. Elder Verney came forward. He looked small compared to the humans, but he stood proud. You came, he said. You called for help, Ray replied simply. But we didn't mean to call you, Ray smiled. Still, we heard you. Hope in the dark, the humans, helped repair the damage. They gave medical care to the wounded and shared power units with the Zalari to restart life support systems. They left guards in orbit just in case the pirates returned. News of what happened spread across the stars. Who were these humans? How did they defeat a pirate fleet so fast? The Galactic Council received reports. Some were shocked, some were angry. Some were afraid, but others were curious. As for the Zalari, they had only one thing to say. The Deathworlders answered our cry. When no one else came, they did. And somewhere, across the stars, another weak race under attack whispered, maybe, we should call the humans too. News spread fast across the stars. Every species, every planet, and every outpost heard about what happened on Veltrax 7. The Draxor raiders, who had terrorized the outer systems for decades, were destroyed in less than half an hour, and not by the Galactic Council. Not by an elite alien army. They were defeated by humans, the so-called Deathworlders. Many beings in the galaxy didn't even know where Earth was. Others thought humans were still a weak new species. Dangerous, yes, but not important. Now everyone was talking. Who are they really? How did they destroy a whole pirate fleet so easily? Why did they answer a call that wasn't even for them? Inside the Galactic Council chambers, on the Council world of Zenthari Prime, hundreds of alien leaders met in a giant floating hall. The walls were made of crystal. Lights flickered from floating screens. Holograms showed the battle over Veltrax 7. The Draxor ships were burning. Human vessels moved in perfect formation, fast and deadly. The room was filled with whispers. These. Humans are too powerful. They don't follow our rules. We must warn them to stay away. But one voice spoke louder. It was Ambassador Rethal of the Tariq Union, a four-eyed species known for their wisdom. He said, the humans saw someone in danger and came to help. Isn't that what the Council was created for? Others disagreed. The Karnoks, a powerful empire, with glowing skin and sharp tongues, growled in protest. They acted without permission. Earth is not even a council member. They are outsiders. Ambassador Rethal replied calmly. Perhaps they are outsiders because we never invited them. The council was divided. Some feared the humans. Some admired them. But all agreed on one. thing. The galaxy had changed. Veltrax 7, A New Friendship. While the Council argued, things were different on Veltrax 7. Admiral Ray Morales stayed in orbit with her fleet. Human engineers helped rebuild the broken Zalari buildings. Medical teams treated the wounded. Even young Zalari children watched in amazement as giant Terran machines moved rubble and restored power. Elder Verney, the Zalari leader, met Ray on the surface. "You could have ignored our call," Verney said. "We don't ignore calls for help," Ray answered. "But we are not humans. We are strangers to you." Ray smiled softly. That never mattered. Verney looked up at the human. Fleet above. "Will you stay?" "We will stay as long as you need us," Ray said. "And if you wish, Earth will protect you. But we don't take what's not ours. You will remain free." The Zalari were touched by these words. Unlike the Council, who often asked for payment and control, the humans asked for nothing. They gave help freely. A message to Earth back on Earth, people cheered when they heard what the fleet had done. News videos showed footage of human ships saving alien civilians. Journalists called the Terran Navy the shield of the helpless. But not everyone celebrated. Some government officials worried that the Galactic Council might respond with anger. "They didn't invite us," one senator said. "Now they may see us as a threat." But Admiral Ray sent a message from Veltrax 7 directly to the Council, broadcast across the stars. Her voice was calm but firm. "This is Admiral Ray Morales of the Terran Defense Fleet. We responded to a distress signal. We didn't come to invade. We came because someone was in danger. That's what we do. If that's a problem, then perhaps the problem is not us." The message shook the galaxy. Millions of smaller races, long ignored by the Council, watched it over and over. For the first time, they saw a new possibility. Maybe Earth could be the ally they were waiting. For Nabra, the pirate's plan. Revenge far away in the dark regions of space, deep within a hidden asteroid base, the Draxer were licking their wounds. Only a few ships had escaped. Their leader, Warlord Threz, slammed his claws into a metal wall, roaring. In anger, "They humiliated us," he shouted. "They came out of nowhere and destroyed us like insects." His lieutenants stayed silent. None dared to speak while Threz was in rage. Finally, one of them said, "We need to strike back. Show them we are not afraid." Threz turned to his war council. "Yes," he growled. "We will not run. We will gather every ship, every fighter, every weapon we can find." "What is the plan, Warlord?" another asked. Threz smiled with sharp teeth. "We will return to Veltrax 7, and this time we will bring a fleet so large, even Deathworlders will kneel." Earth prepares. When Earth learned that the Draxor were regrouping, they didn't panic. They prepared. The United Terran Defense Command sent more ships to reinforce Veltrax. They also activated the orbital defense rings, massive platforms equipped with long-range cannons and shield generators. Earth scientists shared basic shield tech with the Zalari, teaching them how to protect their cities. Soldiers trained, side by side with alien volunteers. Farmers and engineers worked together to grow food for the colony. It wasn't just about war, it was about building something better. Admiral Ray stood with Elder Verney in the new central hall of the rebuilt. "Zalari City, are you afraid?" she asked him. Verney shook his head slowly. "No, not anymore. Because this time, we are not alone. Other species take notice on nearby worlds. Other peaceful races were watching. The Valari, a bird-like species on the edge of Council space, sent a message to Earth asking for diplomatic talks. The Dranak, a small aquatic race often ignored by the Council, asked if humans could help patrol their sea colonies. Even on Council member worlds, citizens began asking their leaders, "Why didn't we help Veltrax 7? Why did Earth respond faster than the Council? Are we still doing the right thing?" Slowly, the galaxy began to shift. the calm before the storm weeks passed. Veltrax 7 began to look alive again. The crops returned. The cities shined with new lights. Human and Zalari children played together in the fields, but in the dark of space, something terrible was coming. Warlord Threz had built the largest Draxor fleet ever seen, hundreds of pirate ships, new weapons stolen from forgotten vaults, mercenaries, paid with promises of loot. They were ready, and they were coming back. But this time, Earth was ready too, and they weren't alone. The peaceful world of Veltrax 7 had become a symbol of something new. For the first time in many years, a small alien colony had been saved, not by the Galactic Council, but by Earth, the humans, the Deathworlders. Every day, new ships from Earth arrived in orbit. Some brought more soldiers and weapons. Others carried doctors, engineers, and builders. Human and Zalari teams worked together to build a new future. But far across the stars, the powerful leaders of the galaxy were not smiling. They were afraid. The Council's fear on Zenthari Prime. The Galactic Council met again in their giant crystal chamber. The room was tense. Holograms showed images of Earth's fleet above Veltrax 7, dozens of ships, Terran flags, new defense rings being built. "They are growing too fast," said a Karnox general. His skin glowed dark red with anger. "They came without asking," shouted a councilwoman from the Falari conglomerate, a proud feline race. "They don't follow our laws." Ambassador Rethal of the Tariq Union stood once more. He raised his 4 arms in peace. "The humans saved innocent lives," he said. "They did what we failed to do." A voice from the shadows spoke. It was Council Overseer Veth, a tall, icy creature from a cold moon. "They are a Deathworld species, born in chaos, trained by hardship, and now they are heroes. This changes everything." The Council didn't know what to do. Earth had not asked for power, but they now had influence and respect. 2 things the Council feared to lose. All eyes on Earth. Across the galaxy, small races began watching Earth closely. The Dranak, the sea dwellers who once feared every shadow, now sent a team to Earth for talks. The Valari, the bird-like traders, offered open sky docks for Terran ships. Even the quiet Galen monks, who had not left their holy world in centuries, sent a message. "We see wisdom in the humans. They act with purpose." Earth, once ignored, was now at the center of every conversation. A dark fleet forms far away from the Council in a hidden star system. Warlord Threz stood in a vast war chamber. Around him were giant pirate ships, old, damaged, and ugly, but many. His new fleet was ready. Over 300 ships. Some were stolen Council frigates. Others were built from scrap. All of them were armed. "Today," Threz growled, "we stop being hunted." He slammed his claw into a map showing Veltrax 7. "They made us run. They showed the galaxy our weakness. Now we show them our strength." The Draxor fleet began its journey back toward Veltrax 7, powered by rage, greed, and revenge. Preparing for war on Veltrax 7, Admiral Ray Morales was standing in front of a large table. Around her were humans and Zalari officers. "The Draxor are coming," she said simply. "This time, with everything they have." She tapped the screen. It showed the estimated size of the incoming fleet. "Over 300 ships," said Captain Jonas Lorne of the Solar Wrath. "Maybe more. They've gathered mercenaries and stolen Council tech." Elder Verney stepped forward. "We will fight too," he said. "This is our home." Ray nodded. "You won't stand alone." The humans had already built shield stations in orbit. They upgraded the Zalari's defenses, trained local fighters, and set up communication relays to call for help. And most important, they had prepared the 5th Terran fleet, waiting just outside the system, ready to jump in when needed. Messages in the dark, meanwhile, the Galactic Council watched closely. They sent drones to monitor the situation, but they refused to send troops. They were still unsure. Helping Earth could mean making an enemy out of them, or losing their power if Earth kept winning allies. But many citizens of the Council worlds didn't agree with their leaders. In city halls, in schools, in markets, people asked, "Why is Earth doing more than our own council?" They don't want power. They want peace. For the first time in years, many alien citizens looked to Earth, not with fear, but with hope. The calm. Before the storm, as the days passed, tension grew. Human scouts reported that the Draxor fleet was only 3 days away. Ray stood on the bridge of her flagship looking out at the stars. She remembered the call that started it all, just a small signal sent by scared aliens, and now a war was coming. "You okay, Admiral?" asked Captain Lorne. "I'm fine," Ray said. "Just thinking." "We have the firepower," he added. "We'll hold them," Ray nodded. "Yes, but it's not just about holding. It's about showing the galaxy that standing up for others still matters." On the surface, Zalari children played under the new energy shields. Human soldiers trained with local fighters. Doctors shared medicine. Engineers taught the Zalari how to repair machines. A bond was forming, one the Draxor could not break. Meanwhile, in deep space, Warlord Threz's fleet moved like a swarm. His ships blocked starlight. His engines screamed across space. "Veltrax will burn," he said to his lieutenants. "Earth will regret crossing us." But one of his captains looked uneasy. "Warlord," he said, "the humans are not like the others. They fight differently." Threz growled. "Then we crush them differently. They had old neutron bombs, heavy plasma guns, and a secret weapon, an ancient dreadnought recovered from the ruins of a dead world." Threz believed he could not lose. Signs of loyalty back on Veltrax, the final preparations began. Human and Zalari officers stood shoulder to shoulder. Every defense cannon was charged. All ships were ready. The Zalari painted human symbols beside their own on buildings and shields. A new flag flew. 1/2 Earth, 1/2 Veltrax. Elder Verney addressed his people. "Once, we thought we were forgotten," he said. "But the humans came, not to rule us, not to take, but to stand with us. Let this be the day we show we are not weak. We are not alone." Above them, the sky was calm. But they all knew. The storm was near. The silence in space was heavy. Everyone knew it was coming. High above Veltrax 7, the Earth fleet floated in formation. The human ships looked like silent guardians, dark, strong, and unshaken. Below, the Zalari watched the skies with nervous eyes. For many, this was the first time they would fight, but they were not afraid, because this time, they were not alone. Admiral Ray Morales stood on the bridge of the Solar Wrath. She looked at the holographic map glowing before her. "Enemy. Fleet will arrive in 6 hours," said Commander Dalen, her second in command. Ray nodded. "Is the 5th Fleet in position?" "They're hiding behind the 3rd moon," Dalen said, "waiting for your signal." "Good," Ray said. "Let them come." Draxor fleet enters the system on. The edge of the system, space began to shimmer. One by one, giant pirate ships appeared. Dark, rusted monsters. Some looked like old council vessels. Others were patched together with stolen parts. All were covered with weapons, and in the middle of it all came the Dreadfang, the massive dreadnought stolen from a forgotten war. It was larger than the Solar Wrath, with thick armor and old-world tech that still worked. On the bridge of the Dreadfang, Warlord Threz stood tall, his black armor shining under red lights. "There it is," he growled. "Veltrax 7, let's finish what we started." His ship spread out like a swarm. First contact. The Solar Wrath sent out a message. It was short and clear. Turn back now. Final warning. The Draxor replied with laughter. They fired first, missiles. Shot through space, glowing bright. Plasma beams lit up the stars, but the Terran ships were ready, shields flared, counter-weapons activated, and defense drones launched. The battle had begun. Battle over Veltrax. The space around Veltrax 7 turned into fire and chaos. Human warships moved in perfect sync. The Solar Wrath, leading the charge, fired railguns that tore through pirate armor. Drones danced between ships, striking weak points with deadly aim. The Zalari defense platforms, newly built with human help, fired energy bolts at the Draxor, fighters trying to reach the planet. Inside the city, Zalari soldiers worked with human marines. Civilians were kept in shielded shelters. Medical tents stood ready. Above it all, Admiral Ray gave orders calmly. "Split them," she said. "Isolate their flanks." "Watch the dreadnought," warned Captain Jonas Lorne. "It's charging something big." The Dreadfang fires. Suddenly, the stolen dreadnought powered up. Ancient cannons hummed with energy. Lights along its sides turned red. Then it fired. A beam of dark blue light shot through space, hitting one of the smaller human cruisers. The ship exploded in silence, breaking into burning pieces. Ray's face hardened. "Target the dreadnought," she ordered. "Bring it down." But it wasn't easy. The Dreadfang was old but strong. Its armor was thick. Its shields were ancient but powerful. And it had backup. Dozens of smaller ships protecting it. The hidden trap just when the Draxor thought they were winning. Ray gave a quiet command. "Now!" At that moment, space shimmered behind the third moon. The 5th Terran fleet appeared. Dozens of warships, fresh and fully armed, jumped into the battle. They came from behind the Draxor lines, surprising them completely. The Draxor fleet was caught in a trap. Human ships began a pincer movement, attacking from both front and back. Draxor vessels were crushed between them. Missiles flew. Fighters weaved through fire. Explosions filled the sky. The tide of battle turned. Boarding the Dreadfang, Admiral Ray gave a new order. "Prepare boarding teams." A group of human marines, wearing advanced armor, entered drop pods and launched toward the dreadnought. Among them was Sergeant Milo Voss, a tough, experienced soldier with a scar across his cheek. "We take control of the bridge," he told his team. "No mercy, no fear." The pods hit the Dreadfang's hull. The Marines cut through metal and entered. Inside, it was dark and full of smoke. Pirate guards waited with plasma rifles. The battle inside the ship was fast and brutal. Marines moved, like shadows, using stun grenades and close combat skills. One by one, the pirates fell. Warlord Threz faces humanity. In the command chamber of the Dreadfang, Warlord Threz roared in rage. "They boarded my ship!" He picked up a heavy blade and waited. When Sergeant Voss and his team entered, Threz charged, but Voss was ready. The fight was hard. Threz was strong, fast, and full of anger, but Voss was trained, focused. After a fierce battle, Voss knocked the blade from Threz's hand. "It's over," he said. Threz fell to his knees, defeated. "Deathworlder," he hissed. "What are you?" Voss looked him in the eye. Human, victory in the stars. With their leader captured and their fleet broken, the Draxor ships began to retreat. Some exploded, others were taken. A few ran into deep space. The battle was won. Cheers filled the human fleet. On the surface, Zalari citizens stepped out of shelters, looking up at the clear sky. They were safe because of Earth. After the battle in the days that followed, Earth helped clean the battlefield. Damaged ships were repaired. Wounded were treated. Memorials were held for the lost. Warlord Threz was taken into custody. He would face trial, not by the Council, but by the very people he tried to destroy. Admiral Ray stood beside Elder Verney as the Zalari raised a new flag. Half their own, half Terran. "This planet will always remember what you did," Verney said. Ray smiled. "We were just answering a call." The galaxy watches. The entire galaxy saw what happened. The Council could not deny it anymore. Earth was not weak. Earth was not wild. Earth was a protector. And as more species began sending messages to Earth, seeking friendship and help, one thing became clear. The age of Deathworlders had begun. The battle was over. The Draxxer fleet was broken. Their once proud warships now floated as burning wrecks across the Veltrax system. Fires blinked weakly in space, and escape pods drifted among the ruins. The last scream of their command ship had already faded into silence. The Terran fleets stood strong and untouched, like giant steel mountains guarding a valley. Inside the command center of the Solar Wrath, Admiral Rey Morales looked at the main screen. Her eyes were sharp, but her voice was calm. "All hostile signals gone," the officer beside her reported. "Draxxer forces defeated." Rey gave a small nod. She did not smile. War was not a game. Victory meant fewer lives lost, not joy. "Status of Veltrax 7? She asked. "Minimal damage," said another officer. "Zalari cities are safe. Civilian casualties, 0. This time, Rey allowed herself a short breath of relief. "Send the message," she said, "to the Galactic Council and to the galaxy." The news spread fast. The Terrans had saved the Zalari homeworld. They had defeated the Draxxor. Again. Across the galaxy, species watched the battle footage in disbelief. Huge Terran ships moving with silent precision, laser beams cutting through Draxxor vessels like paper, drones flying in perfect formations, human soldiers boarding ships like they had trained for years, because they had. The Galactic Council, once proud and slow, now looked weak and late. They had not acted. They had debated, hesitated, talked in circles. But Earth had acted. Some feared humanity even more now. But others saw something different. Hope. On Veltrax 7, the Zalari built a monument, not of themselves, but of a Terran soldier standing tall, arms outstretched, protecting a small alien child beneath. It was called The Answer. Vurni, the Zalari diplomat, stood with Admiral Rey as they looked at the statue. "We asked for help," Vurni said. "We never expected it would come from your kind." Rey looked at the monument quietly. "No one expected it, not even us." Vurni turned toward her. "Why did you help us?" Rey thought for a moment before replying. "Because someone was screaming for help," she said simply. "And where we come from, we don't ignore screams." Back on Earth, the Terran Union received messages from across the stars. Tiny colonies, isolated species, old mining stations, forgotten planets. They all said the same thing. "We are afraid. Will you protect us?" The leaders of Earth met in deep discussion. Some wanted to say no. After all, Earth was still rebuilding after the last wars. But others argued this was their chance to change the galaxy, not through control, but through courage. In the end, Earth decided. They would create a new alliance, a coalition of the willing, made of peaceful species who wanted protection, not power. It would not be ruled by money, it would not be ruled by politics, it would be ruled by action, and it would be led by humanity. At the Galactic Council headquarters, tensions were rising. Many council members were furious. "Earth is growing too fast," shouted a reptilian ambassador. "They are grabbing power." "They only respond when someone is in danger," replied a calm, feline-like elder. "Something this council rarely does." An argument exploded in the chamber. Old grudges, ancient rivalries, and fear all boiled over. But one thing was clear. The old balance was broken. Meanwhile, Earth did not wait. They began building beacon stations, small outposts that could detect emergency signals from far-off planets. Each beacon had Terran Marines, medical teams, food supplies, and advanced drones. "If anyone calls for help," Rey told her officers, They shouldn't have to wait days or hours. Help should arrive in minutes. Zalari engineers worked, beside humans now. In their long legs and crystal eyes, hope returned. They had become true allies. Even young Zalari children now dressed up as Terran heroes, pretending to fly ships and rescue colonies. Stories spread fast. How humans fought like machines but cared like family. A new story began across the stars. The story of humanity, not destroyers, but defenders. But peace never lasts forever. In a dark region of space, far beyond known charts, a strange signal echoed through subspace. It was old, faint, but powerful. Inside the solar wrath, sensors beeped. "Admiral," said an officer, turning pale. "We're receiving a new signal." Ray frowned. "From where?" The officer hesitated. "Unknown region. No colony listed. No starbase. Nothing." Ray stood. She already knew what was coming. "Put it on screen." A small, broken voice came through. It was alien, distorted. "This is Theller 9. We are under attack. Anyone, please, help us." Ray did not wait. She turned to her command. "Team, plot a course," she said. "We move at once." As the Terran fleet prepared to leave, Vorny stood on the launch deck, watching. "You answered once," Vorny said softly. "And now again. Why?" Ray paused before replying. "There's something strange about us, Vorny," she said. "You can call it instinct. You can call it madness. But when someone cries out in the dark, humans run toward the sound. Vorny." Gave a slight bow. "Then may the stars light your path." Ray nodded and walked onto the command bridge. The engines lit up. The fleet, dark and beautiful, began to rise. From the surface, children watched and waved. Parents told their kids, "Those are the Terrans, the ones who came when no one else did." The galaxy held its breath, a new signal, a new call for help. And once again, a Terran fleet arrived. The end.